Welcome back. After closing with a 70-point gain yesterday and the Nifty above 21,900, this morning we've got positive global markets and the GIFT Nifty suggesting a higher start and above the 22,000 level. Mid-caps too outperformed yesterday, reversing some of the underperformance from the beginning of the week. But it's time now to talk about individual stocks. Our research team is standing by to kickstart the Friday's list. Nigel, on Vedanta?
Yeah, I'm looking at Vedanta. Yesterday, there was a large trade that took place, but it appeared that a part of that block got done because the street was bracing for a larger block. What we got at the end of the day was that, in fact, 6.5 crore shares, which equates to around 1.8% changed hands. And yes, the promoter entity was the seller. So they have a promoter entity in there, which is Finsider International, that held 4.4% stake in the company. Now, that will be trimmed by close to around 1.8%. The promoter entity on the whole has nearly around 63% odd. So that comes closer to around 60%. I read this development positively because you're always worried about the promoter entity and the debt that they have at Vedanta Resources. So they sold some stake, then they have some more liquidity, which is good news. And given that the free float, goes up since the promoter entity is holding comes down, well, you could see MSCI as well as FTSE see some kind of rebalancing on that. So foreign indices could see some kind of inflows out there. So that's why going with green. And yesterday, the stock ended at the low point of the day, corrected from the high, but this is read positively.
Absolutely. So keep an eye out on that stock as we open up. UPL, I mean, the stock has been down in the dumps. Earnings were pretty weak. Outlook was weak. Debt levels, etc., had ballooned. And now, to top it all up, there is a rating downgrade as well. Vivek is here with more details. Vivek.
Well, good morning. Precisely because of the reasons you mentioned, number one, weak set of results. After that, a couple of analysts had pointed out that on the back of that, the company would have some issues, going ahead and servicing their debt. Debt to EBITDA has gone up quite significantly. And on the back of that, just prior to today, you also saw Moody's as well as S&P go ahead and downgrade their long-term ratings on UPL by a notch. Now, yesterday, what happened was that Fitch also joined the bandwagon. Fitch downgraded, UPL Corp's rating to a BB, from a BB positive to a triple B negative, and the outlook is uncertain. Now, what they're saying is that this downgrade follows a weak 9 months FY24 EBITDA on back of lower global crop industry demand. So what they're saying is that it's also on the back of the fact that the industry demand has been quite low. They're saying that UPL's total net debt to EBITDA could jump to 6 times at the end of FY24 versus just 3.6 times in FY23. However, over the next 3 years, they do expect the EBITDA to improve, but expect UPL to open in the red on the back of this particular rating downgrade.
Okay, the Fitch downgrade could hurt UPL today. I'm also watching for Interglobe Aviation because the DGCA has released the January passenger air traffic data. The overall industry growth stands at 5%. Now, Interglobe Aviation's January passenger air traffic growth stands at 16%. So it's outpaced the industry. But it's also what has to be kept in mind that peers like Air India have seen a much higher growth at close to about 39%. So despite, an overall, passenger growth of 16%, the market share of Interglobe Aviation has been coming down. In the month of January, it stands at 60.2%. But as you can see, it's been slowly sliding as peers, particularly Air India and Vistara, are gaining market share. Sterlite Tech is the other stock that I'm watching because CRISIL has revised the long-term rating to a rating watch with negative implications. Remember, Sterlite Tech too has been battling very high debt levels. Last quarter, in fact, the company reported an overall loss of about 49 crore rupees, and the company is looking to, improve their cash flows and bring down their debt. But there is that CRISIL revising the long-term rating to a rating watch with negative implications for Sterlite.
We'll keep an eye out on both those too. But let's go across to Vivek, who's here to tell us about a couple of more stocks that he's tracking. Vivek.
Well, that's right. After Vedanta's block deal yesterday, you did see a couple of other important block deals happen as well. First was Yes Bank. The Carlyle Group yesterday trimmed its overall 6.4% stake by almost 1.36%. The entire block was lapped up by Morgan Stanley Asia. They bought close to 1% stake in the company. So that would be one stock on the radar. The second stock was Sudarshan Chemicals, one of the top gainers yesterday. HDFC Mutual Fund picked up over 2.5% stake in the company at 514 rupees a share. The promoter entities were the sellers, both Ajay Balkrishna Rati as well as Nisha Ajay Rati. Both of them sold a little over 2% in the company yesterday.
All right, Vivek, thank you very much for that. Well, more stocks with news flow. Upasana standing by with that list. Upasana, good morning.
Good morning. First up is Dilip Buildcon, where the company's JV is declared as a L1 bidder for a tender floated by Water Resources Departments of Madhya Pradesh. Well, the project mainly entails to the construction of irrigation and a dam project, and the project cost is nearly about 413 crores. Next up is BL Kashyap. The company has bagged a new order aggregating to 208 crores, and the order is placed by Manyata Promoters is for construction of mainly blocks at Embassy Manyata Business Park in Bangalore. With this order, the order book of the company stands at 3,165 crores. So we'll be watching out for these two stocks today.
Lovely. Thanks a lot for that, Upasana. Well, let's go across to Manisha. Manisha, you're tracking crude oil prices going to have an impact on ONGC and Oil India. Please go ahead.
Oh, well, absolutely. Overnight, we've seen nearly a percentage point or more of gain in the crude oil prices. This is after the dollar index slipped from its 3-month highs. Well, apart from that, the Middle East tensions continue to brew on and escalate in some areas, and that would continue to keep a premium on prices. We have seen a pivot point manage around $80 a barrel for the Brent crude oil prices. There also are the global growth demand estimates that have come in from 2024, while the IEA has it lower at 1.2, but OPEC expects 2.2 million barrels per day of a demand growth globally going forward in 2024. The markets also are watching out for statements from the Chicago Fed president suggesting that central banks should be wary of waiting too long before it cuts rates, and that also led to some pressure in the dollar. The retail sales decline for the month of January also has been supportive for buying. So overall, a good start for the crude oil prices, and markets do believe that this week could be a positive one as far as that one is concerned.
Okay, thank you for that. Here's a quick recap then of the top stocks. Stocks with positive news flow are Vedanta, Sudarshan Chemical, Dilip Buildcon, BL Kashyap, ONGC and Oil India. Stocks with negative news flow are UPL, Interglobe Aviation, Sterlite Tech and Yes Bank. We will get into a short break on that note. On the other side, Siddharth Khemka will join in for some fundamental stock analysis. Later, we'll connect with Vikas Gupta of PG Electroplast to talk about their Q3 earnings. Stay tuned.